I've put a little added feature. You got. Ooh. Sorry, that was that was me putting my hand over the one of the ears, and it's tuned up too high. Hey everyone, welcome back to Installation 00, and today's update on Project MJOLNIR, things that have happened relatively recently, things that are kind of transpiring right now, and things that we've got planned in the very near future. So first off, I just want to thank everybody who has continued to comment, continued to like, to share, people who have jumped on board the materials group Patreon, which is linked in the description down below, to keep supporting the project as it continues to advance in the future, and people who continue to donate to the GoFundMe. It's because of you guys that this is even possible. So please, keep supporting it if you're able to. If not, like, subscribe, and share the video around. It all helps. And as a thank you, particularly to the patrons, we are trying to roll out like Patreon gifts. There's Patreon fulfilled merch. You'll get like t-shirts and mini prints and things like that from Project MJOLNIR. We're working on getting some like blueprints and things like that sorted out as well. That's all part of the new kind of rollover of the Patreon perks. But also we're going to actually make printed perks and things, perks that we make, available to you as well. And the first one that we're making is we've actually taken an exact 1/4 scale of the MJOLNIR helmet. We've done a cutaway of it. This is exactly the right model. So this is exactly the model that we used for the shell that was obviously 3D printed by PCBWay. An exact model of all of the interior components for the frame, exactly as we modeled them, that were also 3D printed. We've done a cool little cutaway version. I don't think we're done with this yet though. I think I want to go a little step further where I want to actually add in a little visor here. And I actually want to add in half of the HoloLens as well. So it actually probably becomes kind of a featurette, so to speak, in and of itself, of the original helmet. So these will become available. This is a quarter size. I might actually upscale it to a half size. But in either case, this is one of the first Patreon perks that are going to go out to the patrons they're currently supporting via the materials group. Again, the link is in the description down below. Thank you to everyone who's continued to support so far. And if you want to get on board to grab one of these and the other stuff that we've got coming in the near future, please do so. The next big thing for Project MJOLNIR is that we have reverse engineered a lot of the major systems. This was a big trope, a big aspect of the project as a whole, was the idea to take the things that we develop and reverse engineer them and make them publicly available. And one of the first things that we've done with that is we've made all of the helmet systems inside reverse engineered. It's kind of a double-edged sword. This is first and foremost, this is the Morrigan helmet, which is stylized directly after concept art for Fred 104. But it's a fantastic model. It's twofold. So one, it's my first kind of venture into cosplay, away from actually making the real life helmet. This is my venture into cosplay, but it's also a kind of a field test of the systems that we put inside the MJOLNIR helmet and how we've made them available, so to speak, to be reverse engineered. Now, well, I'll get on to how we're making them available in just a minute, but I just want to showcase a few things first. So inside we've got the usual, we've got padding and things like that. We've got hearing systems, so you can see very similar to the real MJOLNIR helmet. Just here we've got very discrete microphones that have been inserted into there. So that gives you full, when I turn that on, that gives you full binaural spatial sound. Tiny little amplifier boards, microphone driver, a couple of resistors, a capacitor, and some speaker drivers, and you have binaural sound. We've also got, obviously, it's not a MJOLNIR helmet without helmet lights, of course, although I do notice the Morrigan's cheek units get in the way a little bit. I've put a little added feature. Sorry, that was me putting my hand over the one of the ears, and it's tuned up too high. I'll put that down later. I put a little feature here on the AI data chip just to kind of... We've also got fans. I'm not sure you can hear it. Maybe. But it's not just like the intake fans here at the mouth. These work in a very similar manner to the way the actual MJOLNIR helmet fans work, where one pulls in and the other one pumps out. So you're breathing in fresh air, but then as you breathe out, it sucks the now very humid carbon dioxide rich air out and pumps it free. It's also filtered on both sides with the carbon with an activated carbon filter. And that's not the only fans that we've got built into this. There's fans in the brim, which angle down over the visor to stop the visor from fogging. There are blower fans at the top here that vent hot air out of here, out the top of the helmet. And we've got some new fans built into actually where the data port is there. So that's actually a duct now. You can see it kind of goes down through. And there's a couple of blower fans in there that pull air in from outside and kind of cycle it around the interior of the helmet. So it's got AC as well, and it's got built-in communications gear. The only thing it's basically lacking is the heads-up display from the original Mjolnir helmet. Now, I said about reverse engineering the systems therein. Now, the systems that are in this cosplay helmet are exactly the same systems, just kind of made more modular, as we have in the Mjolnir helmet, and we're reverse engineering them and we're making them publicly available. So we're putting together some kits, basically. They're upgrade kits that will have the various different modules of the respective features that are in the real Mjolnir helmet and this Morrigan helmet that you'll be able to purchase. So if you're a cosplayer and you want to sort of kind of upgrade the systems, give yourself binaural auditory sound, give yourself built-in communications gear, better air conditioning systems, better torches, and also have it all modular and be able to be controlled via buttons or via Wi-Fi. We're making kits available, modular kits that are designed to fit into almost every helmet, whether they're a helmet of your own design or whether they're taken, directly from the game, or whatever the case may be. We're also in early talks about taking some of the aspects of the real Mjolnir helmet and putting it into motorcycle helmets, which is really exciting, but we're very early on in that. I can't really release any further information regarding that at the moment. A shout out to Spartan John, who's a very prominent community member in my Discord. He's also got his own Discord, the Spartan Space. His recommendation for the way to do the paint job on this helmet was phenomenally good. He suggested putting on a flat black, then a high chrome silver, then back to flat black, then your olive green, and then when you weather that, when you take little nooks and scratches and bumps and things like that away from it, it pulls that surface paint off but reveals that really high lustrous chrome underneath. We also need to discuss a couple of big things in this helmet. So one of the things I want to highlight straight away is the visor. Now, the visor is 3D printed in resin. Now, I actually started 3D printing the visors myself. Started with my Anycubic Photon Mono X, and I was getting kind of varying results. But I reached out to Apply 3D, a company here in the UK based in London, who are kind of almost a dealership for Phrozen, one of the biggest 3D printing manufacturers in the world. And they hooked me up with the Phrozen Sonic Mega 8K-S, one of their new really large format printers. And I got printing on that and started printing visors, and the results I was getting from 3D printing resin visors startlingly better than I was getting on the Anycubic Photon Mono X. The big aspect of making those visors really crystal clear is obviously in the sanding, the wet sanding that comes thereafter, and iteratively increasing in the grain of the sandpaper to 1,000 grain, 2,000, 3,000, to really buff out all those little print lines and get it up to a high gloss finish, effectively, to polish it to a point where it's almost entirely transparent. And I had some fantastic results even with the relatively limited sanding that I did in regards to that. So I have to do a huge shout out to Way at Apply 3D in London and Phrozen for hooking me up with the absolutely colossal Mega 8K-S. It is a hell of a 3D printer. And with that 3D printer, we made some of the prototype visors for this helmet. We also made a lot of the detailing on the back here, and the cheek units for the Morrigan here were also done on the Phrozen Mega 8K-S. And the quality of the prints when they came out were phenomenally good. Now the Phrozen Mega 8KS is a colossal 3D printer. It's equipped with a 15-inch build plate with a printing volume of 33cm by 18.5cm with 30cm of build height, making it one of the largest publicly available resin 3D printers currently on the market, and arguably speaking a really good price point as well. It's truly a substantial surface to mass produce either miniatures or print medium to large sized models, and while I can't necessarily see this as being kind of an entry level resin printer, or indeed a printer for hobbyists, if you make a much more substantial use of this thing, either through selling figures online or producing prototypes like I've been doing, particularly for larger builds, this is a fantastic option, particularly for those serious cosplayers out there. The large build format enabled me to print very large components without the need to separate or slice them into component parts and join them together like after the fact. This is a tanky boy, however, so be prepared to lose a decent amount of desk space to this monster. However, with that said, it's still markedly smaller in profile and almost identical build volume to its older brother, the Sonic Mega 8K. The hinged lid is a great feature, meaning lifting clear a bucket enclosure that you periodically knock on the printer or is just an issue to handle when dealing with finished prints is no longer a problem. The perforated build plate is exceptional for allowing the resin to quickly flow back into the voids generated upon the bed's lifting away. And although initially I found detaching models from the perforated build plate was a bit of a chore, I quickly discovered that holding the metal spatula with the beveled edge down and doing small twists to the wrist as I pried it away from the plate made the separation strikingly easier. The pump and refill unit is an absolute godsend. Bearing in mind this is a much larger volume tank than your average 3D printer, so you can pour an entire bottle of resin into this thing and it will just eat it up. So be aware you'll need proportionally larger quantities of resin to avoid any bare exposures and thus failed prints. Nobody needs that. Way and Apply 3D were also good enough to send over not only this exceptional printer and its pump and refill station, but also its associated wash station and cure station too. The wash station comes with a chromed wash rack to hold prints and can hold a truly colossal 25 litres of water or isopropyl alcohol. But they've also added in a drain tap that allows you to drain into a bucket to dispose of spent washing fluids, so you don't risk moving and spilling this thing anywhere, because, I mean, who needs 25 litres of isopropyl alcohol soaking into your carpet? Not a good time. I actually picked up a length of 1-inch PVC tube that I attached to the barb connector on the tap so I can easily channel the runoff to a bucket and dispose of it safely. And the cure station has a rotary plate and a chromed shelf and has more than enough room to cure a huge quantity of small prints simultaneously, or remove the rack inside and it can hold a massive print up to 35cm around and 30cm in height, which is insane. Had I had this setup of gear during the prototype of the original version 1 Mjolnir helmet, it could have been printed, washed and cured in just 2 halves, as opposed to I think the 12 pieces that I had to splice the actual shell of the helmet into, and I think about 18 components I had to splice the frame into. 2 pieces I could have done it in. So Apply 3D are in part sponsors of today's video, and they are offering 5% off plus a free pump and refill station if you buy the Phrozen Mega 8KS or any of the other kind of bundle packages that they've got on their website at the moment via the link down below using the code installation00 at checkout. So that's cool. But going back to the visor, I mean, maybe you don't have room for such a huge colossal 3D printer. Or maybe, like me, you were just a little bit too lazy to put in the extra hard elbow grease that was required to sand a 3D printed visor to the point where it had a high gloss sheen and you could see through it easily. Maybe you're like that. And I'm not judging, because I'm one of them. Well, you can still get extremely high quality, and by high quality I mean impeccable quality, 3D printed visors via our second sponsor of today's video, PCBWay, whom were also the same company who helped us make the original Mjolnir helmet by 3D printing the shell of the Mjolnir helmet on their buck. So the visor actually in this helmet, and how, you know, fantastic and phenomenally good that looks, that isn't one of the ones I 3D printed on the Photon. That's in fact one of the ones that PCBWay made and sent my way, and I actually have 2 more of them here. So we've got one in orange, which is the one I used here with just like a mirror tint on the inside to make it the gold that it needs to be, and one clear. And they are phenomenally clear. And by phenomenally clear, I mean phenomenally clear. I've never seen a 3D printed visor look this clear. Not only is this visor 3D printed and looks phenomenally good, but it's also got a tinted film on the inner surface which gives it the lovely polarized look that we're so used to for Mjolnir helmets, but also beneath that again we have an active photochromatic layer, which means that just like the real Mjolnir helmet, when this helmet goes out into extraordinarily bright locations, the visor automatically tints and dims in response, which is just so hugely satisfying to experience from a first-person perspective. Now, I've just dropped the light because I don't even need to convince you that the visors are phenomenally clear, because you've actually been watching the video all the way through so far through one of PCBWay's visors. And I'm going to continue to leave it up there as well. You can see there's just a tiny little bit of like lens blurring just down here. That's from one of the beveled edges, but they are so smoothed out. And when you're wearing this and it's up close, especially when you've got that nice curved edge in front of your face, you don't even realise you're wearing it. And again, just another shout out for PCBWay, as they are the second sponsor for today's video. I just want to give you a quick rundown of the kind of things that PCBWay are currently offering. So PCBWay offer a full PCB printing service, enabling you to upload your own custom designed PCBs and they will print them and ship them to your home address, at which point you simply have to put the components on the board and solder them in place. That being said, PCBWay also offer a fabrication service, which means that not only will they 3D print your PCBs, but they'll also put the components on the board for you and ship those to you, meaning that when they arrive, they're ready to go straight out of the box. I already have some PCB designs on backlog that I'm going to be sending over to PCBWay in due course for them to get printed and sorted for the reverse engineered upgrade kits for cosplay helmets. So if you're one of the people that buy one of those upgrade kits, you'll be first-hand experiencing some of the quality of PCBWay's products. But when it comes to the visor, we're talking about CNC and 3D printing services that PCBWay also offer. Now, of course, you've seen the results of PCBWay's 3D printing of metal components with the real Mjolnir helmet, but the process of getting something 3D printed in metal and something 3D printed in a clear resin that's so clear you can use it as a visor isn't very different. You simply upload the STL model that you have of the visor, you select the material that you want it 3D printed in this case I selected a resin 3D print, and then you select the finish that you want. So I selected a clear resin with a slight orange tint with one of them, and then just a clear resin for the other ones. You wait for them to cost it and to approve the model and tell you if there's any major issues with the file that you've sent over. They've been really great at their communication, being able to articulate whether or not there is any problems that they foresee or if there are changes that you need to make to the model so that it'll work. And in some cases, they just go ahead and do that work for you. It's exceptional service from start to finish. And before you know it, you've got a package at the front door with the products that you ordered, and you've seen from this video the quality of the visors that have been produced. I can't praise PCBWay enough, given the experience that I've had with them in all the times that I've dealt with them. So big thank you to PCBWay. So that's kind of some of the big upgrades and big aspects of things that have been moving forward recently with Project MJOLNIR. A lot of the reverse engineering of the components that go into MJOLNIR, but also the fact that we're bringing in people from outside, like PCBWay, like Phrozen, that are able to provide certain aspects of the build of helmets like this for reverse engineering, for cosplay purposes, and a lot of other aspects. And it's now available for you guys. This is a big aspect of Project MJOLNIR that I was absolutely and utterly set on from the get-go. This is what I wanted, to take all of the immense innovations that we make in MJOLNIR and make them available to you. And this is just the beginning. This is just the helmet. We've got so much more left to cover. So that's kind of what's, broadly speaking, what's been happening relatively recently with reverse engineering the systems from MJOLNIR. So not only are we making kits available with the systems that you've seen in the real MJOLNIR helmet and now here in the Morrigan, we're also making visors, 3D printed visors now available via PCBWay, which is a huge step forward. I'm an absolute game changer for visors for cosplay purposes. There's early talks about putting some of these systems into motorcycle helmets. Can't talk a lot about that at the moment, but we're also surging ahead with the version 2 of the helmet, which is a quantum leap over the version 1 helmet, and that kind of fixes a lot of the little bugbears that we had for the version 1 helmet, but also allows us to expand the scope of what we're doing with the version 2 helmet, with the idea in mind that we're going to be making different levels of cosplay variants of these helmets available for purchase in the form of kits. There's a big update just around the corner where I kind of go into specifics on how we're going to achieve that. So I'll leave that for that video because I don't want this one going on too long. So look forward to that, particularly if you're interested in getting your hands on like a real Mjolnir version of the helmets in kit form that you can put together yourself. Keep your ear to the ground on that one. I'd like to now announce that Project ODST has just made a quantum leap forward in regards to what we've got planned. Now, a long time ago, we brought a guy called Torino on board with the materials group. Now, some people within the community may already recognize that name, but for those of you who don't know who Torino is a creator who is very, very active on Instagram and is building an exoframe support system, a passive exoframe support system, which is form-fitting, extremely functional, and offers a full range of motion without risk of hyperextension. Now, we brought him on board a good long while ago to kind of somewhat collaborate and throw ideas back and forth and share kind of ideas on what we were doing. But since then, things have come on, conversation has been had, and Torino has offered up his exosuit design as the foundational exoskeleton element of the ODST battle armor, which means that the ODST plates just have to be adapted to fit over the frame that he's already developed, allowing us to quantum leap forward in what we're doing with Project ODST. So we're going to be looking at ways we can make the armor plating of the ODST very quickly, very efficiently, but also make them ballistic rated. Project ODST's helmet is also coming along leaps and bounds. We've got designs that are a higher fidelity of helmet than anything else out there at the moment. So again, huge developments coming for Project ODST in the very near future. I've also recently brought on a couple of other people into the materials group, but I'm not quite ready to discuss exactly what they'll be doing yet. But it's extremely exciting. So again, really big announcements in the very near future. And I suppose the last big thing to announce is that myself and Harbinger, again not giving away too many details, but myself and Harbinger, Josh, again a member of the materials group, have been working diligently recently to hopefully overcome the issue that is inherent to almost all exoskeleton platforms, and that's power. That's a big Achilles heel for almost any exoframe. Power. Most of them need to be tethered to something. Even the Raytheon ones, the Hulk ones, they need power, they need batteries, they need like a mains cable and a harness and everything. No good. What's the field application for that? You're gonna go drag around a generator with you? No, of course you're not. You're gonna have like a petrol generator sat on your back? No, it's loud as hell. We think we've done it. We think we've developed something that fixes that problem. I'm really excited because it's actually the culmination of some work I've been doing for well over a decade, nearly 2, and it stems right the way back to both my early qualifications in college and in university, but also into industry as well. Really excited to show you what's going on there, but again, we're not quite ready to reveal this. This is kind of a weird kind of interim stage where a lot of things are happening, but we're not quite ready to showcase them yet. But all in all, loads of things have been happening. I'm absolutely pumped. I'm excited to wake up every day and work on the awesome stuff that we've got going on a day-to-day basis. You guys have made all of this possible, so I thank every single one of you from the absolute bottom of my heart. I thank our sponsors, Phrozen, Apply3D, and Way, and PCBWay for helping out with the Morrigan helmet and reverse engineering the systems from Project MJOLNIR. And long may you and the community at large continue to support our efforts to make Project MJOLNIR and Project ODST and something else real life. Thanks everyone, take it easy and find peace in the domain. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider hitting the subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Be sure to like the video if you did and pop a comment below on what you'd like me to cover next. I just want to take a moment to thank my patrons, Spartan 10148, the Metarch of my facility, Falcon, Sophia, Mikhail, Ashley, Jordan and Esoteric Sight, my dutiful monitors, Darian, Legions Lost, Labrat, Spartan 0137, Jacob Kemp, Sean, Element Zero, J3, Mr. Keys, Gunslinger, Evermore, Personal Devil, Aldiaz, Toxic, Scion Esports, Gem, Saber and Relentless, my diligent sub-monitors, my fleet of Strato Sentinels, my loyal enforcers, and all other patrons who continue to support the channel. If you want your name on the end of the video and some perks earned along the way, head over to Patreon and consider supporting the channel yourself. Big shout out to my Tier 0 Transcendent YouTube members Spartan 137, Jacob Kemp, Talia, Fenrir, Bornstella, Jimbo and Balaz, and all the other YouTube members keeping my installation running on that glorious vacuum energy, with a special mention to the Accursed Hunter. Shout out to John due to the mathematical formula used to determine the area within a pentadodecahedron. Oh, and Lena because that sandwich. And remember, there are tons of ways to support the channel and keep my installation pumping out content at a breakneck speed. Much love to you all, take it easy everyone, and find peace in the domain.